Hi everybody, Marietta Paxson here with Little Dreamers to do your free Q&A tonight. So I'm sorry for the low lighting. I am at my night job seeing clients and I just finished up. I didn't have time to go home, so it's a little grainy, but hopefully you'll forgive me. And I'm like freezing in my office, so I have my jacket on. It gets so cold. I have like one of the back offices, and so the heater like doesn't work or something. I mean, it does work, but you know what I mean. It's hard to feel the heat. So, okay, so we have a ton of questions, which I'm so excited to get to. So let's just jump right in so that I can get to as many as I possibly can before I have a call a little bit later that I have to jump off for. So, we're gonna go ahead and start with Melissa. Again, I am awful with names. Melissa Hokinson. And she says she has a 2.5-year-old who's having a hard time sleeping longer than 2 to 3 hours at a time at night unless he's in bed with me. I don't want to co-sleep and try not to let this happen, but I have been so tired I don't realize he's in there. He's always had a hard time sleeping, but we had gotten to the point that he would wake up once and be asleep within 5 minutes. Then I went to girls' camp and he was home with Dad for a week. Dad let him sleep with him all week. No. Since then, my little boy always wants to sleep with me, and at first he was checking to see if I was still there. It has been 7 months since it started. He will now go to sleep at 7:30 and sleep for 2 to 3 hours and wake up. Sometimes he just comes. I'm assuming he's falling asleep in his bed, Melissa. Oh, and when you get here, give me, I should have wrote this on the thing, give me a hello in my comments so I know who's here in case I have any questions. So shoot me a hello and let me know when you're here. Okay, so sometimes he just comes and gets me and we go back to his room. And if I hold him or sit with him, he'll fall asleep again. But as soon as I leave the room, he wakes up. Other times he wakes up in a rage and is yelling and throwing tantrums. We generally have to ignore his tantrum for a while. Then I can talk him into a hug and we can work on getting him to sleep. It used to take hours for him to fall asleep, but now it's 15 minutes. It's good. He begins nap time around 12 and 12 and 1 and we'll sleep until 3. Sometimes he wakes up in and out and wants to cuddle and not sleep on his own. I also had a baby in October. He sleeps great and thankfully sleeps through his brother's tantrums. How do I get my brother to sleep through the night? Okay, Melissa. So, a couple questions. One is, like his schedule sounds pretty good. I don't know what time he's waking up. So those tantrums where he's screaming and waking up, those tell me that he's probably not getting enough sleep. So I probably want to look at his overall schedule. Two, my second question is, are there any times when he's getting into bed with you where he does sneak in or he does get in somehow, right? You're either exhausted or he sneaks in without you noticing. If that's happening even once in a while, that's really going to reinforce him waking up at night. So there has to be a way that you wake up every single time, and there has to be a way that you can be 110% consistent to get him to fall asleep back in his bed. Because it sounds like you were super consistent before girls' camp and you're really trying to be consistent after, it makes me wonder if there's something else going on. So I would recommend a consultation. By the minute, I charge $2 a minute, so you can do a 15-minute consultation at $30. The pro on that is you get to fill out my questionnaire, which really screens for a lot of things, and then I can send you in the right direction. If it's not a sleep thing, because I screen for a lot of health stuff, or we can catch something that maybe I'm not getting the full picture here. Okay, let's go to Jolene Walker, and she says that I'd like to move my 9-month-old out of my bedroom and into her 2 twin sisters' room, who are 3 years old, but she still struggles to sleep through the night. She can fall asleep on her own for naps and bedtime, but knowing I'm so close, she screams when she wakes up until I hold her and help her to sleep. Should I wait until she sleeps better to move her? No, because she's in the same room as you at 9 months. Then the reason she's waking is because she's in the same room as you and she knows that you're there and you can hear and you're going to respond. So what I would do is figure out a way that you can move her into the other bedroom. And if you want, you can take the twins out. Maybe you can have a sleepover in the living room for a couple nights or send them to grandma's house or do whatever to get them out of the room. My bet is she'll start sleeping better once she's in that room. But even if the twins are there, they most likely will sleep through her crying or stir and wake up and go right back to sleep. But I would not wait till she's sleeping better. You're going to have to move her in order to help her sleep better. Okay, so Kate Stringham. She says, my son turned a year on the 31st of January. He had his shots on February 2nd, and ever since then he will either miss one of his naps or only sleep for a half hour with both naps. Okay, I know shots contributed to fast sleeping schedules, but I don't know how long this will last or how long I'll last. He wakes up anywhere between 7 and 8. His naps are 10:30 and 2:30, and he goes to bed at 7. Okay, Do I need to adjust the nap times? Probably. I'll get to that. It has worked really well since we've been to 2 naps, but now it doesn't seem to be working. He can fall asleep on his own. We have the same sleep routine. Is this an age where they have troubles? What I know right now is he needs better naps so he's less grouchy. Okay, so he's also getting over a cold. Okay, so all those things could be contributing. The cold, the shots, and he could be going through a sleep regression all at the same time, and we just won't know exactly what it is because that's kind of parenting in life with a 1-year-old. What I would recommend doing is sticking with the schedule that you have for 2 weeks to see if the nap regression stops, just being consistent. Now, if it doesn't fix itself, then this is a schedule that I would recommend. I'd wake him up at 7 o'clock and I'd put him down for his first nap at 10 o'clock and then his second nap at 2:30. It's mostly what you're doing, but I want to make sure that he's up at 7 o'clock because he's going to need a little bit more awake time during the day, okay? And then he can go to bed, I don't know if you tell me bedtime, but around 7. Yeah, 7, so you can keep that the same. So just really being strict with that morning wake up and when that first nap starts, and limiting both naps to 1 hour is the transition that you'll make before going down to 1 nap. I don't recommend going down to 1 nap till at least 14 months of age. So I would wait to do that. Okay, if you guys are here, give me a shout out, give me a comment, tell me who you are so I know if I'm answering your question. I see Jamie's here. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Miranda Jones. She says her son is 2.5 years old. He's co-slept since he was born. I just recently got him out of my bed. Awesome. He's sleeping in a toddler bed that is in my room and stays there all night, which is kind of a miracle, Miranda, that he's in a toddler bed in your room and stays there all night. My problem is that at nap time, he will put himself to sleep. I can leave the room and he'll go to sleep. At night, he will cry and cry and cry for me to pat his back or hold his hand. I'm not sure why he can do it alone at nap and not during bedtime. He will stay up until 11 until I cave and go in to put him to sleep, where it takes about 3 to 5 minutes and he's sleeping because he's so exhausted by then, right? Yay, Jessica's here. And I have your question coming up later, so I'm glad you're here. Also, let me add that he goes to sleep around 7:38 and I leave the room just like I do at nap. I do the exact same thing and he yells for me and cries till I come back in. Okay, my best bet, Miranda, given the information that I have, is that bedtime's probably too late, so he's probably missing his window to fall asleep. And then he is either overtired at that point or hitting his second wind. And so he's just being difficult. So I don't know his whole schedule. I don't know how long naps are, but that's what I'd look at 2.5 years, is looking at his schedule and probably putting him to bed a little bit earlier so that you're catching that ideal sleep window, if you will. Okay, let's go on to Megan Bigler. Chantel's here. You're so great. Alyssa, thanks for joining us. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad to see some of you guys here. Again, sorry about the low light. I'm at my office. I didn't have time to go home, so thanks, Chantel. You're super nice, as always. Okay, so Megan, she has a 6-month-old, and she says that the morning nap and third nap has gotten shorter the last 2 weeks. Does this mean to go to 2 naps? Could, it could not. She wakes at like 5 or 5:30. I go in and give a binky or feed. Then she wakes around 6:30 for the day, and I put her down around 8 or 8:15 for a nap. And lately they have been 30 minutes. Okay, so that 30-minute nap could be because she has a binky or because she's ready to switch to 2 naps. It could be either of those. Next nap around 11:15, and she naps 1 hour. She has 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. The next is around 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes. Then I do bedtime between 6 and 6:30. How do I get rid of early wake up at 5:30, and how to prolong her naps? I would get rid of the binky. So you've got a sleep trainer 100%. No binky, no swaddle, no nursing. I don't know if you're doing any of those things, but we've got to get rid of the binky because she could be ready to go to 2 naps, but I would first say that it's the binky. Absolutely. Okay, let's go down to Chloe. Chloe says, we moved 3 months ago. Since then, my boys, 2.5 and 16 months, have been sharing a room. They go to bed at about 7:30. My oldest wakes up at 6:30, and my youngest wakes up at 7. They go to bed at 7:30. My oldest wakes up at 6:30, so that's the 2.5-year-old, and my youngest wakes up at 7, the 16-month-old. Okay. They nap at about 12:30, so they're both on a 1-nap schedule. Okay, oldest for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and my youngest for 2 hours. When they started sharing a room, my youngest, 16 months, started to wake up around midnight and wouldn't fall back asleep unless I bring him into my bed. I'm getting exhausted. Also, my 2.5-year-old takes forever to fall asleep. He will get out of bed so many times asking for a drink, a snack, a kiss, just to stay awake longer. Then he cries and it keeps my youngest awake even longer. Tips to get him to go to sleep quicker. Okay, so let me go back to your schedule. Your oldest is up at 6:30. He takes a nap about 12:30 for 2 hours. And then bedtime is at 7:30. I don't know. The only thing that I would think of doing is maybe cutting his nap shorter, so you're getting down to like 1 hour. Once they hit 3 years, they can really be done napping. So it's hard to go from 2 hours to no nap. So I'd consider cutting that nap a little bit shorter. He might be able to fall asleep easier at night. I would not bring your 16-month-old into bed with you because he's just going to continue to wake. If you can figure out a way, I mean, most kids can sleep through their siblings' cries, and even if they don't sleep through, they like wake up and roll over and they're fine. So I'd get a noise machine, I'd get a fan, I'd get something in there, and I wouldn't worry so much about your 2.5-year-old waking up. If he knows the rules, I almost wonder if he's not quite ready for a toddler bed because he's getting out so much. I don't know. There's a lot of questions, Chloe. So that's kind of the direction that I would go. And I'd look at those things and see if that would help. You guys, toddler issues are the hardest. Like toddlers getting out of bed. It's really hard to answer those in a free Q&A because there's so many variabilities and it can be different for every single child. So that's my best bet. That's kind of the direction that I would go. But again, if you're interested in a consultation, I schedule them in 15-minute intervals, and they're $2 a minute. So you can spend like $30. Maybe we can get it figured out. Maybe you could purchase a whole consultation. So if you purchase like a total hour and we only use 30 minutes, I just let you keep that 30 minutes for a later time and you can schedule it. So I'm pretty flexible that way. Chantel says, just wanted to let you know that your advice helped us so much. Chantel, that makes me super happy. I love hearing positive feedback like that. I love helping moms sleep. I love it. My husband and I listened to what you said, looked at each other, and talked about how we knew what you were saying was, of course, the right thing, but so good to hear it from someone else. We implemented some changes, and now my 3-year-old is sleeping in his bed all night again. Ooh, you're the best. Chantel, I need to go look up your question so I can remember exactly the situation. So happy to hear that. Okay, let's go to Alyssa Virgil, and I think Alyssa, oh no, there's a different Alyssa that was here. Okay, if you're here, give me a shout out in the comments so I know whose questions is here right now, because sometimes I'll ask you questions and get feedback to help. So give me a little hello and let me know if you're tuned in. Okay, Alyssa says, I have an almost 3-year-old son who honestly is a pretty good sleeper. The trouble for us is his wake up time. Oh, also, I'll just comment right here. If you guys didn't see the mom show a couple weeks ago, I did an entire hour on toddler sleep. So all of these toddler questions I'm getting, go check it out because there's probably something in there that will be helpful as well. An entire hour. So mom show on KSL, I have it linked on my page, or you can go to her page or go to iTunes or where you listen to your podcast and just look up the mom show. Okay, sorry, but good resource to have. He goes to bed at 7 p.m. and will wake up as early as 4 a.m. He takes a nap at noon, and typically I will wake him up between 2 and 2:30. I wake him up from his nap because I worry that too much sleep during the day is making him wake up early in the morning. Obviously, that's not working. He can nap until 3 or later if I let him. But part of the reason he can nap that late is because he's waking up so early, right? So naturally, if you wake up at 4, you can take a 3-hour nap. Anybody can. I can, and I'm not supposed to need a nap every day, but I could definitely take one. Okay, so he's a pretty deep sleeper anytime he is asleep. We have a bedtime routine we stick to every night. He has a pacifier at 3. Don't worry, my oldest had a pacifier at 3 too. He falls asleep fairly quickly. I would love for him to sleep at night from 7 to 6, but I have no idea how. I'd probably get rid of the nap at this point. You could cut his nap down to 1 hour and see if that helps, but the 2 hours is just too long. And again, anywhere from 3 to 4, you can eliminate that nap. So that's what I do. Cut his nap down to 1 hour, and if that doesn't work, I just eliminate his nap and compensate with an early bedtime. You could even do a bedtime as early as 6, which is what I recommend, but he should hopefully sleep until 7. So, let's see, what did I do here? Oh, this is part of your question, Alyssa. Sorry, I thought it was a different one. Sorry. He still lives with an older brother who has autism and will sometimes wake up in the middle of the night. This does not wake up the 3-year-old, but maybe contributes. They will be getting separate rooms when we move this weekend. I don't think, if he's not waking up, it's probably not. I wouldn't worry about that. Thanks, Chantel. You're the best. Really, though, you're the best. Sorry, I did that backwards. I responded to your comment and then read your comment, but I appreciate your support. And I just love helping moms sleep. That's like what I do. I love helping kids sleep too, but it's different. Okay, Janica. She says, my little one will turn 1 in March. She usually gets up around 6 a.m. and goes down around 7:30 p.m. She's been taking 2 naps, a longer one in the morning around 10:30 and a short one in the afternoon around 3:30. The past couple of days, her morning nap has pushed closer to 11:15, and she won't go down for a second one. Everything that I've read says she still needs 2 naps at this age. She does. Her nap time routine is book, song, lay her down, awake with pacifier, and white noise. She just finally started sleeping through the night, and I don't want to mess that up. Okay, so if she is waking up around 6 and she has bedtime around 7:30, I know this is going to sound crazy, but what I try to do is I try to put her morning nap a little bit earlier. If you have been putting her down at 10:30, try 10. Try 10 and see how she does. My ideal time is naps at 10:30 and then a nap at 2:30 before we switch. And I want you to limit that morning nap to 1 hour. So 10 to 11 and then wake her up and then put her down at to sleep at 2:30 to 3:30 and then wake her up and then put her down at I usually do a 7 to 7. So you might even consider moving bedtime up a little bit, and that might even help her sleep in a little bit longer. So see if that works. Okay, Alyssa Barron, you're here. I see you were a minute ago. Hopefully you still are. Here is your question. She says, my 9-month-old usually has to fall asleep drinking a bottle. I hate using that as a method to get her to sleep for naps and bedtime. Right? But I don't know how to get her to drink her bottle and stay awake and then have her fall asleep on her own. Okay, so Alyssa, at 9 months, I imagine that she's eating solids too. And so what I would do, she's going to be on that same schedule, the 2-nap schedule that I just outlined. So when she wakes up from her second nap at 3:30, you can give her a bottle then, and then feed her dinner around like 5:30 or something. 5, I don't know. And then say you're putting her to bed at 7. Okay. So we actually want her to finish her bottle, be completely done eating it at 6:40. So we're going to give it to her at like 6:20. And then from 6:40, actually, I'm going to rearrange that. I want her to finish drinking her bottle at 6:35. Nope. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't do math. 6:25, I want her to finish drinking her bottle. So that at 6:45, 20 minutes after she's done finishing her bottle, because I want her to be awake and I don't want her to be near sleep, I want you to lay her in a bed so she can fall down alone. Then she has 15 minutes to gently fall asleep before 7 o'clock. Hopefully it works, right? She might cry longer than that, but you're kind of setting her up for the best success. So that's what I do as far as weaning her away from that bottle. Okay, Ariana Astion. I read things and I want to put a Spanish accent on them, you guys. Ariana, I have no idea I don't know. I'm awful at names. But if I give your name a Spanish accent, just know it's because somewhere deep down, I used to speak Spanish and it's still with me a little bit, even though I can't speak it anymore. Okay, so let's see what your question says. You guys, we're doing so good on time, so I'm getting through a ton of questions. I'm trying to fly so I can answer everyone. At 4 months, if my baby is not doing a 2-hour nap during the day, should I help her to achieve this by resettling her when she wakes up crying after 30 to 40 minutes, for example? In my case, she can fall asleep on her own at the start of nap bedtime by crying not more than 6 to 7 minutes max. That's super great. She does sleep with a love to dream swaddle, white noise, and almost dark room. Okay, so I'm assuming, Ariana, and I might be wrong here, that because she's still sleeping in a love to dream swaddle, that she hasn't been completely sleep trained because a swaddle is still considered a sleep aid. I don't want her in the swaddle because I want her to be able to use her hands to get comfortable, soothe herself, do any of that. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the 30 to 40 minute mark tells me that she's having problems transitioning from one sleep cycle to the next. So I need to make sure that she's 100% sleep trained and 100% can soothe herself so that when that lighter sleep comes and when she needs to transition to a new sleep cycle, she can do it 100% on her own. So no, I don't want you to have to go in and resettle her at 4 months. A 30 to 40 minute nap is long enough. But obviously if she needs more sleep, we just need to help her bridge that gap. Not all babies take a 2-hour nap. Some babies take a 1-hour nap. A 1-hour nap is a good enough nap. Some babies will take 2-hour naps. Yes, it is okay to use the sleep sack hands-free, Caitlin. Okay, I am saving most of my long comments for after because I know there's some questions. So if you're asking a question on here, I'll see if I can get to it after. Jamie, I think that was yours and I skipped it, not because I want to, but because I'll get to it at the end. Okay, so hopefully that helps. We're going to run over to Danielle. Caitlin says, I'll just add my 2 cents too. I've loved your advice. Thank you so much, you guys, for telling me. Like, positive feedback is so powerful, right? Like, sure, I love it when someone purchases my plan and I get to talk to them and help them one-on-one, but hearing that things are working or that these Q&As are valuable, that is more important than anyone paying me money to help you. Like, it makes me know, yes, these are needed and I'll keep doing them. So, I've loved your advice, and my little guy only wakes 1 to 2 times instead of 4. Yay, thanks for helping me get through the crying. Even with my 3rd kid, it's still hard to listen to the crying when I put him down to nap. I'm wishing I could get to bed for the night without nursing him, though. Thank you for all your help. You're welcome, Caitlin. That makes me so happy. I love it. Okay, let's go over to Danielle. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep time here for my outline that I put up later. So Danielle says, 3-month-old on the 26th, so just over 3 months. She says she used to nap great, sleep for 2 hours at a time without fussing during the day. For the past week, she will fall asleep. Then as soon as I put her down, awake and cry. She wakes up once a night, so that is good. I do my best to keep her up for at least an hour before putting her back down. I also wait till she yawns to know she's ready to sleep again. She sleeps being swaddled, and I top her off with food when I put her down for a nap. Okay, so Danielle, it sounds like you're entering the 4-month sleep regression, which is awful. It's just really hard. What's happening here is they're transitioning from the newborn sleep, where they can sleep anywhere, to more adult-like sleep patterns, where they want the same sleep conditions, however they fall asleep, for their entire sleeping time. So you consider yourself very lucky if it doesn't begin to affect nighttime sleep, but it might. As far as naps go, the best thing you can do is find a way for her to sleep that can stay the same throughout her entire nap, whatever that is. And then at 4 months or 16 weeks from her due date, you can sleep train her, and that's where you teach her to fall asleep in ideal conditions, you know, flat crib, no swaddle, no binky, and all of that, so that it can lengthen out her naps. Okay, Jessica Tippett, and I know you were here earlier, so here is your question. I'm about to start sleep training my 16-week-old next week. I plan on using Exctinction method. What do I do if he wakes up soon after falling asleep? Okay, so this is what you do. You don't go in, you just continue to wait. True Exctinction is you don't enter the room until it's time to feed them. Okay, so a lot of times babies will fall asleep and then 20 or 30 minutes wake up again and cry, and you just let them figure it out. You let them practice those skills. You let them struggle, because when we struggle, that's when we learn how to do new things and we pull on our resources. Same as adults, same as little kids. How do I know if he wakes up to eat or if it's just a night waking and he needs to go back to sleep? Ask your pediatrician how often he needs to be eating at night. I don't recommend any more than 2 feedings at night, because otherwise it can turn into just a habit of nursing for comfort. So I recommend feedings at 12 and 4 a.m. So I wouldn't go in until 12, but you can ask your pediatrician specific to your baby. And if he does, do I just let him cry it out again? Yes. What should his schedule be looking like at this age? So at 4 months, you're just doing by wake times. So I'm pretty sure in my newborn survival sleep guide, I have wake times listed there. But it's no more than 2 hours. They shouldn't be awake for more than 2 hours, and I would say even closer to like an hour and a half. And in the morning, usually wake times are smaller. So, you know, that first wake, when they wake up in the morning, they might only be awake for like 45 minutes to an hour. And then it gradually increases throughout the day. And he should be on about four naps at 4 months. He wakes at 6:37, goes to bed at 12 hours later, usually takes his first nap an hour after waking. Yep, then it's all over the place from there. That's exactly how it should be. 4 months old, they don't follow a by-the-clock schedule, so the only thing that should be consistent is your wake-up time, and that's the start of the first nap, and then it goes pretty much all over the place. Okay. For naps, he gets swaddled in a binky and white noise, so we're going to take away the swaddle, we're going to take away the binky. He sleeps in the mama room, so we're going to take that away and put him in the crib. He's close sleeping at night right now and gets most of his calories at night. Is there anything I can do now to start preparing him for sleep training next week? Yes, you can stop feeding him as much at night and start feeding him more during the day. So typically when we have a child who's getting a lot of calories at night, say they're getting half the calories that they need at night, then they're not going to eat as much during the day. And so if we can spread those out throughout the night, they'll eat more the next day because they still want to get their calories. So that's what I would start doing before you sleep train, is transition his feedings so they're happening more during the day. Okay, so let's go to Hannah. Hannah says, my daughter turned 3 last month. She was sleeping 8 to 6 every night and then taking a 2 to 3 hour nap. 8 to 6. That's amazing. Such a great schedule. I'm like jealous because toddlers are hard. 3-year-olds are hard. My twins are hard right now in sleep. Okay, she started not being able to fall asleep at night until 10. Oh, see, that's where I should have known. You're asking a question. It's not all roses. I tried not giving her a nap, but after a couple weeks, I feel like she is overtired. She will sleep pretty good at night from 7 to 6, but she has started having some pretty bad tantrums, and she'll fall asleep in the car if we go anywhere in the afternoon. 7 to 6 is not enough sleep for a 3-year-old who is not napping. So I would try 6 to 6, and honestly 6 to 7. I don't know if you can get her to sleep until 7, but that's okay for a 3-year-old who's not napping. So that's why she's still getting tired, because she's not getting enough sleep. So I put her to bed a lot earlier if she's not getting a nap. And I mean, even putting her to bed at 5:30 or 5:45 if she's waking up at 6 instead of 7. But maybe putting her to bed earlier will help her wake up later. Okay, I tried giving her just an hour nap, but she still wouldn't go to sleep until 9:30 and then up at 5:30 a.m. Help. Nap and just only get 8 hours of sleep at night, or no nap in bed at 7. Yep, so something else. No nap in bed at 6. She won't sleep at 6, so put her to bed early. That's your only choice. Yay, you get an early night. She gets to go to sleep, and you guys get to have some alone time, right? I love early nights at my house. They're my sanity saver. And when I get my work done. So, okay, Casey Anderson, she says, my 6-month-old is teething, so she's a lot crankier during the day and waking up more at night. Should I be more flexible with our schedule right now because she's struggling with teething, or do I stick with it? Okay, so Casey, go check out on my blog. There's a blog titled, what is it called? Baby Sleep and the Lies Moms Tell Themselves. And there's a whole lie in there about teething. So I'm just going to tell you what the research says. Research tells us that teething doesn't really disrupt sleep. I know, I'm a mom, and I'm over here saying, I don't think so. Like there's no way it doesn't disrupt sleep. But again, that's what the research is telling us. The research is telling us it doesn't disrupt sleep, except for when the tooth is poking through, which only lasts 2 to 3 days. So, and I've also heard, I don't have research, this is the moms talking, right, where the tooth will come up and go back down and come up and go back down. So technically maybe it's poking through for a long time. I don't know. But what I do know with my own children and with working with clients is when a child starts waking at night for whatever reason, whether it's teething or something else, parents automatically say, oh, it's teething, I need to go soothe them, I need to go help them, right? And maybe it is, very well could be. But what happens is when we go to them so quickly and we help them, they're just going to keep waking, right? So we can't keep responding and giving them what they need all the time. So Casey, go to my sickness blog. There's a blog post about sickness and sleep. There's a couple rules in there to help you. I would try like the 3-day rule. And the 3-day rule is if they wake at night and it seems like they're teething or sick or something, help them. Of course, I'm not telling you to leave your child and never go in there and help them, right? And do that for 1 night and maybe 2 nights. And if it doesn't seem like they're getting better, or maybe it's not teething, or it still happens a 3rd night, then I would say give them some room to figure it out and see what they can figure out on their own. Again, it's always appropriate to let them fuss for 15 minutes before you go in. That's often how long it can take a child to soothe to sleep. But, that 3rd night, let them fuss and see what you can do. And I'm not talking about a child that's gravely ill, right? But what I want to avoid is just creating that bad habit where the teething is causing them to wake because they were getting something from it. Does that make sense? Most of the time with the clients that I work with on one-on-one, it doesn't end up being teething. Okay, so let's run over to Lisa. Lisa says, my 4-month-old is waking up between 6 and 7, staying awake for 1.5 hours and taking 40 to 60-minute naps. He wakes up around 5:30 p.m. from his last nap, and I feed him, play for a bit, and do his bedtime routine. I feed him again just before 7. He isn't falling asleep eating, but I'm wondering if I'm doing things wrong. Okay, I feed him again just before 7. He's falling asleep eating. Is it bad to feed him right before bed? I mean, it depends on if you sleep trained him or not. It's not necessarily bad, and there is a small percentage of babies that can nurse to sleep their entire life and it'll never affect their sleep. None of my babies are like that, but I'd take one any day. My recommendation when sleep training is that we finish feeding 20 minutes before we want them to be asleep, or 20 minutes before we lay them down. So I want to start sleep training now that he's 4 months old, but I am second guessing myself and have been reading some things that just suggest babies are more ready for sleep training after 6 months. there's lots of people out there who say that. I think that babies at 4 months can be sleep trained. Yeah. The reason that they say 16 weeks is because at 16 weeks from the due date is when your your sleep cycles transition more from newborn to adult-like. 2, because your melatonin levels, that's when they finally even out. So breast milk has melatonin in it naturally, and so it gives the child melatonin to help them sleep. So feeding them, at night, breastfeeding is great, but because they're not regulating it themselves. But at 16 weeks, they're finally able to regulate them themselves. And then secondly, because at 16 weeks, we're shown that they can self-soothe. So those are the reasons why 4 months is fine. You can always do a more gentle method. Some people wait till 6 months. So some kids don't even act like they hit a 4-month sleep regression. Maybe there's no reason to sleep train. Maybe they don't want to go through that. But at 6 months, they hit the object permanence regression, right? Then maybe you want to sleep train once you hit some bumps. It's totally up to you. But in my experience, it's safe to sleep train. It doesn't mean that you have to do cried out. You could definitely do a more gentle method with a 4-month-old, and that would be fine too. I am just afraid that it won't go well, and I will wish that we had waited until he's older because it's so hard. It's so interesting because in my experience, depending on how many sleep aids and sleep associations he has, babies that are younger tend to do really great. And I cannot tell you guys, how many times I work with parents and they're like, wow, that was a lot easier than I expected. And I'll be honest, when I have my consultations with parents, I am by no means painting a pretty picture. I'm painting the worst possible case scenario because I want you to be prepared and I want you to be able to be consistent. And so I'm painting the worst picture. And if you can't be consistent with that, then either the method needs to change or it's not the right time to sleep train. But over and over again, I get parents saying, oh my word, that wasn't so bad. I had that twice with 2 clients this week telling me that. So that's why I help moms, because it's not about the child having the ability to do this. It's about the moms and their anxiety and their worry about doing it. So Lisa, let's talk. I have very affordable plans. My silver plan is $189 and my gold plan is $399, and you get one-on-one support to help you. And Jessica's saying, I wish I would have sleep trained earlier. Yeah, I'm so sleep training early with my next one. Anyway, so it's hard to reassure you that way, but again, I have, lots of plans, lots of different ways that you can get the support you need to manage that anxiety. If it could be the best decision to do right away, I'm so conflicted. I don't feel like he has any self-soothing skills, and I feel bad trying it now if he can't soothe himself. If your sleep is okay, if you're not dying, just give it some more time. Wait till you're ready. There's no shame in that. Wait till you're ready. My bet is he does have those skills, but you believing in him and your commitment to doing it are the 2 biggest things that are going to impact this. So wait till you're ready. Okay. Keone Isa says, let me get my time. She says, I have a 12-month-old twin girls. A typical day for us goes as follows. Wake up at 7:30, eat, play, go down for a nap between 10 and 10:30. Okay, I feed Quinn first. She falls almost all the way asleep in my arms, and then I transfer to a swing where she finishes falling asleep while I feed Emmy, who falls asleep drinking her bottle, in my arms. Emmy usually wakes around 11, and Quinn wakes up at 11:30 and 12. We then eat and play until 2, then we go down for another nap between 2 and 2:30. They go down the same as before. By 3:15, 3:30, both girls are up. We are then awake until 7:30, which is bedtime. Leading up to our bedtime, we have dinner. We usually fall asleep as we feed them. Okay, our issue right now is that about 11:30 and 12, Emmy wakes up screaming or crying. Sometimes it's just a burp, and she'll fall right back asleep. However, lately she'll burp and fall asleep on us, then cries anytime we put her down and leave the room. Okay, so what's going on right here is she has a sleep association with, they're sleeping pretty good for still nursing or sucking to sleep if it's a bottle, but there are times when they have to make that transition or fall asleep again, and it's really hard for them because they don't have the bottle or they don't have you. And so if they're falling asleep in your arms, I want you to imagine it like this. You fall asleep in your bed, right? What would happen if when you rolled over, because you wake up multiple times at night and roll over, you just don't always realize you're doing it. What would happen if you rolled over and found out you were in your bathtub? You wouldn't be very happy about that. You'd probably wake up completely and go back to your room. Now, you're not going to cry and fuss because you're an adult. You can take care of yourself. But your child is saying, wait a minute, I just woke up in the bathtub and that's not okay, and I can't move myself, I can't feed myself, I can't hold myself, so I'm going to cry and fuss until you give me what I need to help me sleep. Other times she's screaming so much she's completely asleep, so she may not be getting enough sleep. And while your schedule looks good, I worry that the naps are a little short because you have that time of I'm holding them and then putting them down, and they should be at least an hour long, so I'm not sure how long they always end up being. We usually wake her up to calm her down, but then it usually takes at least 2 hours to get her back to sleep. We don't know why this is happening or what to do to help her get more sleep and keep us sane. So what I would recommend doing is helping your girls learn how to fall asleep on their own. So that means no bottle, no holding, no swinging, in a flat crib with nothing but themselves. Once they learn how to do that, fall asleep that way, they will sleep. They'll take better naps and they will sleep better throughout the night. But that has to be the number one thing we work on, and I can't work on or fix other things like, oh, they're overtired or this or that, because they have to be falling asleep on their own. So I do offer a lot of affordable plans to help with that if you're interested. I have a silver plan that is, do it on your own with some help from me, and that's $189. You get phone calls with me, but you're mostly doing it on your own. My gold plan is like amazing. You not only get a personalized sleep plan after I talk to you for an entire hour, understanding your situation and helping you choose your sleep method. You get a personalized sleep plan that I handwrite for you, but then you also get 2 weeks of support where email, text, phone call, you name it. I'm just there to help guide you and make sure that you are successful through this process. So I do offer a free 15-minute call if you're interested in purchasing. I can go over plans with you and help you choose the best plan for your situation and your budget. Guys, it's 36:40. I realize I've gone a little bit over, but I only have one question left, so I'm going to answer it. Okay? And I've got to go. I've got a call in just a minute. So Callie Rogers says, my nearly 2.5-year-old frequently wakes up for an hour or more in the middle of the night. He is hit and miss with naps lately, but when he takes one, it's usually 1.5 to 2 hours, and I wake him up if it's after 4:30. That's pretty late still. Nap time varies a bit based on when I get him down. Bedtime is 7:30ish. On days he takes a nap, and 6:30ish on days he doesn't. I don't know what time he's waking up in the morning. He sometimes takes a while to fall asleep, and he cries if a parent isn't next to him. We give him melatonin if he's too wound up, and I've heard that contributes to night wakings, but my little guy seems to wake up either way. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind using melatonin once in a while. I just don't like to use it regularly with kids. I would start waking him up by 3 if he's not awake. And I don't know what time he's waking up in the morning. Maybe you tell me later. But at 2.5, again, you're getting to that place where he may not need a nap at 3. So I wouldn't do a nap longer than 2 hours, but you may need to even cut it down to like 1 hour, 1.5 hours. We have a 9-month-old who sleeps well, but would wake up if his brother screamed for a long time, which is what happens if we don't stay with him until he falls asleep and when he wakes up. So usually when a child's waking at night, it tells me that they're not getting enough sleep. And so he usually wakes up in the morning between 6 and 7, lately more like 6:30. Okay. And so I would really adjust the nap time. So again, go listen to my KSL Moms, the Mom Show on KSL, a whole hour of toddler stuff where I talk about all of this. So again, toddler stuff is the hardest because I don't have like a full picture. But again, my best bet is that we need to decrease that nap some and then maybe put him to bed a little bit earlier so that he has more time to settle down and fall asleep so he's not going to sleep late. So that's my best guess. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. Thanks for your patience, and sorry I wasn't here last week. We took a little vacation, so it was nice not to have to work. I still worked because I love what I do, but I did take a break off of the Q&A. So if you appreciated this video, I'd really appreciate a like or a love. I'd appreciate a share. Please share with your friends that this is here. You've obviously seen tonight that we've had some success stories, and that makes me so happy, so I will keep doing it. But help your friends get some sleep they need. What does submitting a question hurt? Nobody. Might just help. So thanks so much, you guys. I'll be here next week, so I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye-bye.